This is a little awkward. One moment, please. Hey, what's going on, guys? Jerry here, and today we are back with another video. This one is from CinemaSins. I don't usually do CinemaSins videos, only on special occasions, like when he's reviewing something from my childhood. First one was Aragon, and this one is everything... stupid words. Everything wrong with monsters versus aliens. Now, I remember watching this when I was a kid. Like, well, how was I? 10, 11? And I ended up laughing through the whole thing. It was amazing, and I loved it. Okay, so we're gonna see why CinemaSins doesn't love it, because his whole channel is about hate. Well, not hate, but sinning movies and what they did wrong. So let's see if nostalgia still holds up for me. In 3, 2, 1, let's react.
How many balloons do you think it takes the DreamWorks Fisher Kid to get to the crescent of the moon? 5? No, let's do 6. 7, said Carol. 8, Bill Paxton said while walking through the lot. There was a pause, and then Gary said the unthinkable. 9, he bellowed. The studio heads were stunned. It hadn't been done before, but with luck, it just might work.
Alright, really? That was unnecessary.
What caused the film to burn? Look, I worked 35mm projection from 1993 to 2012, and never once did I have film burn because of an alien invasion. Opening your movie with an object from space making its way to Earth cliché. This tiny remote Antarctic outpost has the capabilities to make a hamburger with freshly sliced toppings. I'm calling Two Guys Burgers and Lies on this nonsense. HBO's
now that's just
promotion
nitpicking
of Westworld
beyond
10 years
nitpicking.
before it would debut is completely out of hand. Reason number 473, not to use 3D as a gimmick in your film. No one watching your movie a decade later will understand why we are spending 5 seconds watching a paddle ball come at the screen. Also, we're supposed to believe this guy cooked a juicy hamburger, set it on the desk, and then wanted to create a visual representation of how bored he was.
How many times do I have to tell you this? UFOs don't exist.
Except they do, because UFO doesn't mean alien spaceship. It simply means something unidentified that is flying. Jerry. F***ing Jerry.
No one ever told us what to do.
Unidentified flying object, that's what it
You never
means.
have to do anything!
Hilarious, but you also decided to go to freaking Antarctica. There are so many other jobs that don't require snuggling up to one of the Earth's ass poles, where you can do just as much nothing as this.
Supernova, this is Red Dwarf. We actually have one. Code Nimoy.
So earlier when you said no one told us what to do, did you forget about the conveniently automatically connected red phone that you obviously know you are supposed to call and give very specific code names into?
Or a perfect day to marry Susan Murphy.
So wait, did Susan's friends break into her house just so that she would see her husband mention their wedding at 5 a.m.? Why didn't he just tell her to make sure she watched? That's 5 a.m. Nobody's awake at 5 a.m. except weathermen, newspaper carriers, and vampires.
My little girl.
Welcome to 2009, when computer animators couldn't quite make humans look realistic, so they went with revolting and creepy instead.
Wedding starts in 30 minutes.
30 minutes? But Susan just got here, and there was nobody in the parking lot. There was no passage of time, because she and her father were crying as he escorted her inside the church. And they're still doing that in the next scene. Also, the bride arrived 30 minutes before the ceremony. Movie doesn't know how to wedding.
The weatherman and the weatherman.
You gotta revive.
Somewhere in the distance,
way
Nicolas
earlier
Cage's
than that.
ears just perked up at the possibility of a Weatherman sequel, and I will always sin the perking up of Cage ears.
Ah, honey, my fingers are crossed.
How is Susan surprised by this? Is this the first time she's spending with her future in-laws? Also, what's up with the thumb shaming? Were we still okay with disfigurement humor in 2009? Is this church near Stonehenge or something? You have to go on a major pilgrimage to find this place. Hell, even Stonehenge has roads going by it. Considering Aliens is right in the title, I guess it's only appropriate that they sent Susan to the Prometheus school of running away from things. Can we just replay what Reese and Pieces here thought the sound a human would make while getting hit by an asteroid would be? Do it again! More! Voice acting. Also, how do we turn our protagonist into a giant? Well,
Alright,
a
I hate how I
slam
laughed
into
at
her,
that.
as opposed to being exposed to radiation like the kids in Chronicle. That's a long way of saying she survives this. Also, this crash would have caused a lot more damage than this. And furthermore, nobody inside the church even hears this. They'd hear a car accident before they heard this. and the closest car is 35 miles away, according to the movie's church geography. Apparently, the role of today's wedding pianist will be played by Voldemort's mom. How the hell did they get all those mud stains out? Hell, when she arrived, there was 30 minutes until the wedding. You couldn't clean those stains out even in 30 minutes, much less the time she had after getting hit by the meteor. Susan's wedding dress manages to stay intact during her transformation. And look, it's not like I want to see cartoon nudity. I mean, you want to see cartoon nudity. I'm just asking for some creativity in keeping with the known laws of fabric elasticity. At the very least, just have the dress grow with her since she was wearing it when she got struck.
Okay.
DreamWorks can never have enough pratfalls in their animated movies. Of course, the woman with the undersized thumbs can't open the chapel doors. But why were the doors even closed? Susan came in with the doors open, and no one was there to close them. Why are they trying to capture Bridezilla like this? She is still a human being, right? You could just actually talk to her. Even if they don't even try. Boy, this Monster Hunter task force sure came prepared for this exact situation, with all the personnel and materials needed to specifically subdue a human giant. Setting aside how they even knew they'd be dealing with Fiancé the Giant here, how did they know anyone would even be struck in the first place? Can we talk about the mechanics of this monster?
Okay, yeah, fine.
The elevator cage system didn't even make sense in Cabin in the Woods, let alone here when there were only 5 creatures to contain.
Stop doing that!
This is clearly his fault. I mean, who walks into a room doing horror movie tropes like this one and expects not to get hit by a spoon?
I forgot how to breathe. Don't know how to breathe.
Well, they finally did it.
I
They made a
love
character that's
Blue.
literally too dumb to breathe. And if
Or
that's the case,
Bob.
I
I mean
don't
Bob.
even know how they
Not
made
Blue.
Coach and
Bob.
Spencer's.
God.
Bob is basically
Gosh
the
darn it.
DreamWorks version of Meatwad. Where did the chair that Susan crushed go? Continuity in an animated movie is still a thing, yo.
No way! It's a boy! Look at his boobies. Like, what do people scream when they see you coming?
Did you pull out in time? Possible I may have misunderstood the question.
Oh, dude! Oh, come on, man! The kids watching this.
Would have been able to sneak up on Susan. Also, why did they let it out in the first place if they just needed to put him back in?
The name is General W.R. Monger.
We should be asking questions, hard questions, about what DreamWorks did with Subtlety's bullet-ridden body when they decided to make these animated features. Would naming him Warren have been too subtle for you, DreamWorks?
7, 8, 999.
Character lifting weights lies about the number of lifts he's done to impress people cliche.
Oh, and one other thing. The government has changed your name to Ginormica.
Was there any reason why
Why?
she just went through that tour? She already met the other monsters, so
There's
why
no
did they
reason
go
to
through
change
all
your name
trouble
like
to tell
that.
her the government keeps monsters secret, and now we consider you a monster, and you won't be able to see your family again. It's not like she had to go through the tour to get to her cell, since all the other monsters came in through the back door of their cells to eat lunch. Why does Ginormica's cell have a solid door here when all the other cells are glass walls on this side? Is the movie prioritizing a series of lame jokes over logical consistency? For shame.
Begin reanimation sequence.
Is what DreamWorks should have said when they saw the finished product of this movie. Earlier, when
It's
Jim Nasty and
fine.
his girlfriend walked up to this
What?
thing, they were eye level while standing on the ground. So why is it now hundreds of feet in the air? This
Best
WT
scene
Axel
ever.
F's on for some time. This design is 100% Stuart the Minion, and that just seems despicable to me.
Get pummeled down here! Call in air support!
Pummel! All that's happening is your weapons are just ineffective. Nobody's dying, right? Shoot the eye, you morons! There's obviously only one scanner to go through this door, but as soon as he gets to it, there's one for his foot, sphincter, and both witnesses. The security is airtight, the continuity, not so much. Also, as soon as he clears the door, we see many other people in here. So are we to assume each and every one of them has to do an asshole scan before entry? Speaking of which, asshole scan before entry is what I used to tell my...
Then which button
Oh
gets
my
me
God.
a latte?
That would be the other one, sir.
What
Okay.
idiot designed this thing? You did, sir.
Way too many characters were written with the Seth Rogen Jelly Monster character template in this movie.
We need a Hail Mary pass. We need raw power. We need monsters.
I understand where Monger is coming from, but after the military blasted the robot with all the firepower they have, what does he expect monsters to be able to do? Especially since 3 of them are tiny, and one of them is a jelly blob with no appreciable skills.
Over the last 50 years, I have captured monsters on the rampage.
In 50 years, all you've caught are 4 monsters? I'm of the opinion that if monsters exist, you'd have run into way more than 4 and an extremely tall Reese Witherspoon.
We already have an alien problem, General. I don't think we need a monster problem, too.
Also, the movie shamefully inspires Suicide Squad. And yeah, I know the Suicide Squad first appeared in either 1959 or 1987, depending on what kind of nerd you are, but they didn't even credit John Ostrander when that movie came out. So I'm gonna stick to my tenuous beliefs, damn it!
I propose we go forward with your monsters versus aliens idea.
Roll credits. Jeez, who animated this random ground traffic control lady? Marvel in the 80s?
Has the Earth gotten warmer? That'd be great to know that. That'd be a very convenient truth.
I mean,
Oh my
they're stretching
God.
for a joke, and then they're stretching so far for a joke that even Helen Parr and Reed Richards are giving you side-eye.
Does anybody have a 20 on Insectosaurus?
Seriously, they left at the exact same time. Gil Arnett would be excellent at CinemaSins. I'd just like to point out that this newspaper flying around in San Francisco is from New York and has New York wins 5-1 as a headline, followed by Race for the Mayor begins and new campaign finance is raised. I don't know if we can learn much from that, but it feels like a sin. Jeez, even in a movie where characters are
Alright,
50
fine.
feet
I'll give you
tall,
that one.
they can't resist putting a rooftop running scene in the action. Can someone tell me why an intelligence smart enough to travel the distance of space would design a robot this clunky and lumbering? What is this, a Star Wars movie? Cars should not work as skates, unless Mega Roller Girl
If
has
they're
a
on
way to put
neutral.
them in neutral, and not destroy the suspension and axles with their weight. These cars would trip her up, not give her an advantage. And of course, it's
fine.
cartoon physics in a ridiculous cartoon movie, but welcome to the channel. First time here? Why the f*** is Giant Reese skating toward the Golden Gate Bridge? Oh, I know. It's because of the Golden Gate Bridge is in some sort of trouble cliche. Deus Ex Machina?
We have to get these people off the bridge!
Wait, so everybody hasn't gotten off the bridge yet? That almost certainly means some people have died horrible deaths. But this movie would have you believe that none of these cars eaten by the robot or smashed or fell into the water had anyone in them.
Carbon-based life form, locally known as Susan, is now too strong.
I'm kind of wondering how the alien spaceship knows her name is Susan. But I'm even more wondering why the spaceship isn't referring to her as Ginormica, since the government changed her name to that.
My days
Yeah.
of running and hiding are over.
Cool, because you are the main villain, right? And this is your second tiny scene more than halfway through, so it might be nice to eventually know who we're rooting against. Why would a creature with mostly human-like anatomy drink with its ear and have it spit out of its mouth? That's just being dumb for dumb's sake. But I guess sometimes dumb works. Dumb works. That might be a good name for a movie company.
We all think the new Susan is the cat's meow. I'm sorry.
Okay, can we please put a moratorium on saying I'm sorry after every joke like this? Cockroach did it earlier when Susan told him not to do the maniacal laugh.
Sorry.
And right after Susan told Monger that she wasn't a threat to anyone and smashed a helicopter.
Sorry.
Why isn't Insectosaurus with them? He shows up later at the party. Did he just know where to go without any directions? Okay, I have a nagging question about her ID number, 00005. First, congrats on the optimism of thinking you will someday have 10,000 monsters and need all those digits. But second, and more importantly, since we learned about the Invisible Man dying, shouldn't she technically be 00006? Did they give her his number? And leave his corpse in that chair? I mean, the Invisible Man disrespect in this joint is legit.
I love you! I love this man!
No, Bob!
Okay.
That's my mother!
Wow.
You're suffocating her!
Why isn't she dissolving? We saw a wayward ham simply get lodged into his body earlier and it instantly went down like an Alka-Seltzer.
Way to cut up a rug, Insecto!
The way Insectosaurus just appears or disappears, as the joke requires, is the same nonsense Sony does with Bigfoot in the Hotel Transylvania movies. Anything that makes me think of those movies is an automatic 5 Sin edition.
All right, everyone just stay calm.
Weren't they basically cool with the monsters this afternoon? When did they adopt the we need to hide from them strategy?
I have an audience that depends on me for news, weather, sports, and heartwarming fluff pieces.
Since when does a news anchor also do weather and sports? Did he get a job with UHF Channel 62?
Just don't see how I can have that with you.
Derek, who has been nothing but a one-note dick this whole movie, is probably right. But someone who doesn't want to find creative ways to have sex with a woman this tall is a terrible person in my book. Look, I know there are extremely rare exceptions, but in almost all cases, broadcasters west of the Mississippi start with the letter K, and east start with a W.
He's not
a
wrong in
difficult
that
thing to
last
get right.
one.
I know you're upset, Susan, but what a dick move to possibly crush someone's property so you can take a load off to mope harder. Lazy Susan is lazy.
What a shindig.
Dear sweet convenient creator and handiest heaven, how did these three know she was at the random gas station in the middle of nowhere right now? Were they in her pocket? Are we going to find out that they're imaginary? The gas station shelter survives this. It even goes back to normal, like it wasn't just sat on and kicked by a giant woman. Pixar's motto is story is king, while DreamWorks' motto is there ain't nothing you can't solve with farts and snot. One of my favorite parts of this movie is how every time Susan wakes up, her captor has been able to Taylor Swift her a perfectly prepared, form-fitting outfit woven to her exact gigantic dimensions. The only thing the villains in this movie love more than kidnapping is fashion.
That's what this is all about?
Him getting the unobtainium or whatever out of your body? Yes, that appears to be correct. Even though we're over an hour in and really have no clue how it relates to anything. When Galaxar requests all the doors to be closed, why do they close one by one?
Many Zen
To make it more cinematic.
when I was
That's
but
why.
a squidling.
Alien speaks English for everything, but to make him sound properly alien, he has to refer to a passage of time as a zenton for some reason.
Okay, boys, set the terror level at code brown, because I need to change my pants.
Oh, come on, Stephen Colbert, not you too. Did Galaxar model his ship after the fidget
spinner.
or did he
I
try
said
to
first.
take off the old singular logo?
General, it's targeting us.
That's the idea, Lieutenant. Hold your course.
Either this guy didn't know what the plan was this deep into the plan, or Monger didn't tell him. Problem with writing an army of clones into your plot is that you begin to look like every other movie that has a clone army in it, thereby becoming a something of other movies.
I may not have a brain, gentlemen, but I have an idea.
Cabinet meetings.
This is not gonna work.
This works.
But I'm not a monster anymore. I'm just me.
Well, except the white hair state. Anyone care to explain why everything else changed back, but her hair went rogue for some reason?
Monsters?
I can't
A
explain
stupid
it.
plan by which
I
the
don't
monsters
know.
pretended to be clones managed to trick not only Galaxar, but his computer as well.
Attention, all aliens! Destroy all monsters!
But do it with hand-to-hand combat instead of those guns I gave you, because we still have 15 minutes to kill in this movie. And of course it's a game of mind-dancing monsters that will bring the ship down, because, oh, I give up. At this point I'm half expecting the writer credit on this monstrosity of a plot to end up being Mad Libs.
Your busted, tired dance moves are no match for my security protocols.
Why does the computer think Cockroach has no chance to break her security code when he is clearly doing that, and we'll have it solved by the next few seconds?
Ship has been set to self-destruct.
I can't think of one good reason why alien ships always have a self-destruct mode. And don't tell me something like Star Trek did it in such and such classic episode and it ruled. It's a third-act crutch to add more tension to the movie after the heroes have basically won. If the ship is self-destructing, why are doors closing? What possible practical purpose could that serve? She crashed through these walls when she was, what, 100 feet tall? Yet somehow she still takes up most of that space at regular height? At this size, it should really be much easier than this to re-enter her holes.
Hey, phrasing!
The only reason he wouldn't be here is if he was dead.
Oh man.
Or late.
No way he could have heard that, but I guess cartoon? When in doubt, sin it.
Sectosaurus, you're alive! And you're a butterfly.
I'm guessing Insectosaurus was expensive to animate, because he was pretty worthless for the most part. He changes into a moth to ex machina yet another situation, but everywhere else he either was ineffective, or they found ways not to include him, or they just didn't bother putting him in the scene. These women may not know what a cloaca is yet, but they certainly look overly eager to find out.
Monsters?
What?
I'm so proud of you I could cry if I hadn't lost my tear ducts in the war.
Well, I'm glad this character didn't turn out to be the movie's secondary villain. What the f*** was his character about? It gave him the name W.R. Monger. Maybe this was expert misdirection by a movie that has an ass identification gag and a code brown poop gag. I'm conflicted.
Seems a snail fell into a French nuclear reactor.
Movie sets up a surefire sequel, but what happened? This movie made nearly $381 million worldwide, was 11th place domestically in 2009, and cost $175 million. Jesus, what did they spend it on? Did Reese Witherspoon demand a giant wardrobe to method voice her character?
A man's got to put in overtime for me to get off.
Space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship.
It was a great movie, okay? I may not remember it that much, but I'm gonna go rewatch it because I think I saw it once on Netflix and I saved it for later. So I'm gonna go have fun with that. If you guys want to see the original video, I'll leave a link in the description down below as always. Yeah, I don't think there's much to be said. Majority of things he said was spot on, but the rest he was just, well, being nitpicky. Great video either way, made me laugh, and it's, yeah. Well, later. Okay, if you made it all the way to the end, then thank you for just watching me eat cereal for the past minute and a half, or maybe 2. And if you comment, "Wow, delicious ending," then I'll give you a shout out in my next video. Okay, because why not? Because if you decide to sit through my whole video and just watch me eat cereal, then you deserve a shout out. You're an awesome person, all right? By the way, these are Oreo O's. Taste just like Fruit Loops, but with a hint of Oreo. Still pretty good. Bye.